Hello, good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible and visible to each and every one of you. If I am, please type A in the chat. And I'm extremely excited to bring you one more session on um, the YouTube live at 9 o'clock for ISI MSQE. Basis popular demand, we are today going to take a look at an area in microeconomics which has featured each and every year in ISI. They love this in terms of markets. The most important market form for ISI is monopoly. Today, we are going to take a look at the theory very quickly, and then we shall do few key ISI problems which will ensure that you get your concepts right. Okay, so let's get into monopoly right away. All right. Okay, so today we are going to start with monopoly. We'll quickly take a look at this most important market, which has featured almost each and every year in the ISI entrance examination. Okay. And the kind of questions and the liberty that ISI takes with this particular topic is amazing. They give you a variety of question types. Today, we are looking to tackle a few of them, and hopefully, each of you will get an idea of the latest trends for this particular topic. Okay. So monopoly is by far a very realistic market structure that we see in the real world. It is characterized by basically one single seller. Okay. Obviously, there are a lot of barriers to entry. It's not a socially efficient market because obviously, since there is one seller, the seller will be able to maximize their own profit, and the consumer surplus is low, and the entire social welfare is not as much as perfect competition. Okay. So a monopoly is a case where the firm is a price maker, not a price taker anymore, like in perfect competition. So what would happen is profit, which is equal to price, which is a function of quantity multiplied by quantity minus the cost. So if I differentiate, what I will get is basically Q into dpdq plus P minus the marginal cost is equal to 0. So what I will get is something like this: P common 1 plus Q by P dp dq is equal to marginal cost. This is nothing but P into 1 plus 1 by the elasticity of demand is equal to marginal cost. Please understand, elasticity of demand will usually be a negative number. If the law of demand holds, dp dq will be negative. If I want to take the absolute value of the elasticity, I can write it down in this particular fashion. Correct? Okay. And it can also be written as P minus P by is equal to MC, or in other words, P minus MC divided by P, which is equal to 1 by elasticity of demand. Okay. This is also called what? Can anyone tell me what is this expression called? There's a word for this. What is this called? Learner's index. That's perfect. Swapnil, thank you. This is this P minus MC by P. Basically, how much extra can the monopolist charge is represented by price minus marginal cost. Please understand, in a perfectly competitive market, the marginal cost is equal to the price. So P minus MC is basically equal to 0. Okay. P minus MC is equal to 0. Therefore, 1 by elasticity of demand is equal to 0. That basically means in perfect competition, elasticity of demand is infinity, which is obviously the case because the person is a price taker. So the demand is basically constant for each particular firm in the perfectly competitive case. So everything boils down to these simple equations ultimately. Okay. Then this P into 1 minus 1 by modulus epsilon D is nothing but the marginal revenue. Marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. This is the profit maximizing condition for a monopolist. And when we have multiple plants, price discrimination, it will just take a different angle, but ultimately we just have to differentiate the profit equation. So if I have a monopolist who can basically operate in three particular ways. One is first degree price discrimination, which is basically perfect price discrimination. That basically means that each and every customer is charged a different price. Second degree price discrimination is basically bulk discounts. Bulk orders will have a different price. And number three, third degree price discrimination is nothing but different markets, different price. Okay, different markets, different price. So this is a extremely common where we have profit is equal to, suppose there are two markets, so P1 Q1 plus P2 Q2. These are the total revenue from market 1, total revenue from market 2 minus the cost. So ultimately profit maximizing condition will be marginal revenue 1 is equal to marginal cost, and marginal revenue of the second market is also equal to marginal cost. So ultimately you have MR1 is equal to MR2 is equal to the marginal cost. So everything boils down to having a profit equation and then basically profit maximizing it. Okay. Theory से related कुछ भी doubt अगर आपको है, it's a good time to put it in the chat. कुछ भी doubt अगर है, good time to put it in the chat. नहीं? All right. ठीक है. अब कुछ क्वेश्चंस देखेंगे जो इम्पोर्टेंट है एंड दैट विल बेसिकली एस्टैब्लिश मोनोपोली एज अ कॉन्सेप्ट फॉर ISI, making it easier for each and every one of you. So let's go into the problems. We'll start with ISI 2025 itself. Okay. So this is ISI 2025. And this is basically question number 14 from the question paper uploaded. Can you please mute? Yeah. For the question paper uploaded on EduSure's website, this is ISI 2025 PEA question number 14. But this is a better print, which is uploaded on the ISI Cal website. So this is basically uploaded at a later time, and we have students' question paper copy. Therefore, the numbering is different. We'll follow ISI 2025 question number 14, that terminology and question number. Please follow that. Okay. There are two types of consumers of samosas, students and professors. Both students and professors stop consuming. So price greater than equal to 5, quantity is equal to 0. Quantity I is equal to 0. I is student or professor. I am writing S for student, P for professor. For every decrease in the price of samosa by a rupee, the student demand goes up by 5. So student demand goes up by 5. So DQS DPS is basically -5. And similarly, DQP by DPP is equal to -10. Professor demand goes up by 10 samosas. If a monopolist has a constant marginal cost of rupee 1, so marginal cost of rupee, basically cost is fixed cost plus variable cost, and can charge different prices to students and professors. Which group will be charged a higher price? So let's firstly find out the demand curve for the two. So basically delta QS is equal to -5 delta PS. QS is equal to basically A minus 5 PS, something like this. A constant -5 PS. Therefore, if I differentiate throughout, I'll get -5, right? Now I know this. So P is equal to 5, Q is equal to 0. So P is equal to 5, Q is equal to 0. Therefore, this is 0. A is -5 into 5. So that's basically equal to 25. Therefore, the demand curve is 25 minus 5 PS. Is this clear? If this is clear, please type C in the chat box. And therefore, what can you say about the demand curve of the professor? Can anyone put that in the chat? What is the demand curve of the professor? Huh? What is the demand curve of the professor? So basically, delta QP is equal to -10 delta PP. So QP is basically B minus 10 PP, and P is equal to 5, Q is equal to 0, B is equal to 50. QP is equal to 50 minus 10 price of professor. All right, good. Now you can simply profit maximize and just find out the price. So profit maximize is basically multiple ways to do this. This is only one of the ways. 25 minus 5 PS. This is basically QS into PS plus QP into PP minus A plus Q. Q is basically QP plus QS. Which is equal to 2575 minus 5 PS minus 10 PP. Minus 75 minus 5 PS minus 10 PP. So you just have to differentiate with PS. So basically 25 minus 5 PS square, so 10 PS plus minus of 5. Minus of -5, so plus 5 is equal to 0. So PS is equal to 3. PP is 50 minus 20 PP plus 10 is equal to 0. So PP is also equal to 3. So PS and PP are both equal to 3. They'll be charged the same price. Okay, this is one of the ways to do it. There are multiple ways. दूसरा तरीका आपको दिखाऊं? Should I show you one more way? Is this, ये वाला पार्ट तो क्लियर है ना? If this is clear, please type C in the chat. Clear है तो please type C in the chat. Okay. Another way to think about it is basically this, that MR1 is equal to MR2 is equal to the marginal cost, right? So MR1 is what? MR1 is basically MR1 is basically student and this is P. Okay. Um, Marginal revenue is basically the derivative 25 minus 10 PS is equal to 1. Oh, sorry. Convert it into this. Um, this is 1, right? So we have to basically convert it into quantity. So quantity student is 25 minus 5 PS, or in other words, 5 PS is equal to 25 minus QS, or PS is equal to 5 minus 1 by 5 QS. So 5 minus 1 by 5 QS multiplied by QS. So basically 5 minus 2 by 5 QS is equal to 1. You'll get your QS like this, and similarly you will get your PS. Okay. Once you get your QS, you can find out your PS. PS will be equal to 3. Similarly, you can do MRP is equal to 1. Put it in terms of quantity. Basically, you will get 10 PP is equal to 50 minus QP, or PP is 5 minus QP by 10. So you'll get 5 minus QP by 5 is equal to 1. So you'll get the value of QP. Now just find the value of PP. You will also get 3. So you can do it in multiple ways. This is only one of the ways also. So you can do it in this. It's a little counterintuitive. ऐसा लग रहा है कि स्टूडेंट एंड प्रोफेसर का इलास्टिसिटी अलग है, इलास्टिसिटी अलग नहीं है. You will realize that once you are able to find out the elasticity. You'll see the elasticity in terms of price. प्राइस के टर्म्स में इलास्टिसिटी अगर आपको लिखना हो, कैसे लिखोगे? प्राइस के टर्म्स में अगर इलास्टिसिटी लिखना हो, इलास्टिसिटी इज व्हाट? डी पी एस डी क्यू एस into QS by PS. Okay. So this is basically minus 1 by 5 into QS is basically 25 minus 5P divided by PS. So you'll get minus of 5 minus PS by PS. And similarly, you will get the same thing, minus 5 minus PP by PP. Now, the elasticity is the same. You'll get from there. Yeah. Yeah. Professor's demand is basically double to that of the student's demand, right? Elasticity will turn out to be ultimately the same thing. All right. This is 22. The answer is C. Charge the same. It's a very good question. All right. So this is ISI 2025 PEB question number 1. Consider a monopoly firm facing a market demand function. So P is equal to 12 minus Q. Monopolist has a single plant that can produce cost at this, and CQ is equal to 0 otherwise. मतलब कि प्रोड्यूस नहीं करेगा तो फिक्स्ड कॉस्ट भी इनकर नहीं होने वाला है. दैट इज व्हाट इट मींस. सो सबसे पहला पार्ट में फाइंड द ऑप्टिमल मोनोपोली आउटपुट. What is the dead weight loss? What is the dead weight loss in comparison to what? In comparison to perfect competition, what is the dead weight loss? Social welfare find out at the monopoly output. Okay. Suppose the monopoly can price discriminate perfectly. So perfect price discrimination will happen and can also sell in the world market at a constant price of 8. So world market में constant price of 8 पे it can sell. Solve for the optimal monopoly outcome. Okay. So पहला दो parts को करिए and then tell me what will be your answer. Do it A and B. चलो solve करते हैं इसको. Let's get into it. So this is one part A. It's basically the standard monopoly case. Okay. So basically, market demand curve is 12 minus Q. Cost is 2 plus Q square by 2. Optimal output, let's profit maximize 12 minus Q into Q minus 2 plus Q square by 2. Derivative 12 minus 2Q minus Q is equal to 0. Q of a monopolist is basically equal to 4. Price of a monopolist is equal to 8. Let's check the profitability. So 8 into 4 minus of 2 plus 4 square 16 by 2. 32 minus 10, 22, positive. Therefore, monopolist will produce. Okay. So this is about the monopolist. Now, in order to find out the deadweight loss, first I need to find out the perfect competition. So this is about monopoly. Now PC, perfect competition. Perfect competition, क्या? Marginal cost is equal to price. So यहाँ पर marginal cost is what? Marginal cost is equal to Q. So Q is equal to P. So P, which is equal to Q, Q is equal to 12 minus Q, or in other words, Q of perfect competition is equal to 6. Price of perfect competition is also equal to 6. Okay. Now you can easily see this by drawing the diagram. Marginal cost is equal to Q. So this is nothing but the marginal cost, which is equal to the supply, and 12 minus Q is the price. So this is P, this is Q, this is 12. This is my marginal cost, which is equal to the supply curve, right? For perfect competition, what is happening? Six. For monopoly, what is happening? Let's use a different color. For monopoly, this is happening 8, 4. So what is the dead weight loss? The dead weight loss is basically this shaded area. What is this corresponding to? MC is equal to Q. So Q is 4. This is 4. Dead weight loss. Basically, the monopolist will have the social welfare as this, and the perfect competition would have had the two big triangles, right? So what is the dead weight loss? Dead weight loss is this. This is basically 8, this is 4, and this is 2. So it's basically a triangle. Dead weight loss is equal to half into height into base. This is the dead weight loss. Am I making sense? Is this clear? If it is clear, please type C in the chat box. Okay. Let's put a divider. Now let's calculate the social welfare. Under monopolist output. Okay. So social welfare is equal to the sum of consumer surplus plus the producer surplus, or equivalently the total value to consumers minus the total cost of production. Okay. Consumer surplus here is what? Monopolist के इसमें ये है. This is the consumer surplus. Consumer surplus is half into 4 into 4, which is equal to 8. Producer surplus is basically the revenue minus the variable cost. Okay. Revenue minus the variable cost. That is this area. So you can basically find out the producer surplus from here or like this. Okay, you can find out the producer surplus. What is this? This is a rectangle. I call this rectangle as say A and this as B. So what is A? A is equal to, this is 4 multiplied by 4, and B is equal to half into 4 into 4. 16 is basically 8, so that's equal to 24. See, it's basically the profit was equal to 22. The producer surplus is equal to 24. Just see it here. Can all of you see this? Please type S that you can see this. So basically, producer surplus is nothing but profit plus the fixed cost. Am I making sense? The fixed cost of 2, add it. 22 plus 2, 24. That is the producer surplus, right? So the producer surplus basically takes that into account. So the social welfare is basically consumer surplus plus the producer surplus which is equal to 8 plus 24, which is equal to 32. You can, this is up to you, since they have not said what exactly is the social surplus. So you can also define the social surplus or the social welfare as consumer surplus plus the profit of the consumer. In that case, you can say that the social welfare is 30 instead of 32. Both definitions, however, will yield the same deadweight loss of 4 when compared to the efficient outcome. Okay. Both the situations will come up to the same deadweight loss. Deadweight loss remains unchanged no matter which definition of social welfare we consider. Okay. Clear hai? This is the first part. First part, is this okay? समझ में आया first part? Okay. Can I move on? Second part में चलते हैं. Suppose the monopoly firm can price discriminate perfectly and can sell in the world market at a constant price of 8. Solve for the optimal monopoly outcome. Part B करेंगे अभी. So, the firm can now perfectly price discriminate in the home market. That is, charging each consumer equal to their willingness to pay. Okay. And sell in world market at price is equal to 8. Number one, we have to firstly understand what will happen in the home market. So, perfect price discrimination in the home market where the demand is basically price is equal to 12 minus Q. Okay. ठीक है. The firm will allocate and world market में क्या है? Price is equal to 8. This is the world market. This is the home market. Okay. Firm will allocate units to maximize revenue in the following way. For units where willingness to pay exceeds 8, firm sells in home market. Please understand, the monopolist will never sell at a price lower than 8. क्योंकि वर्ल्ड मार्केट में तो 8 it can sell unlimited quantities. At price 8 it can sell unlimited quantities in the world market. Right? So why should it sell at a price lower than 8 in the home market? Right? जब कोई ग्राहक आपके पास में तैयार है to pay 8 rupees, will you sell anyone else a price lower than 8 rupees? It doesn't make any sense. Right? Therefore, for units where willingness to pay of the consumer is less than 8, firm sells in the world market at price equal to 8. Okay. So basically, if I were to draw this is the supply, this is the demand. This is Q, this is P. Okay. Price in the world market is 8. 8. In the home market, therefore, it will be able to sell only 4 quantity. This is basically marginal cost is equal to Q is equal to P. Okay. And how much will it sell in the world market? At 8 price, amount that it is willing to sell is 8 quantity. So basically this 4 to 8 quantity is the amount that it is selling in the world market. Am I making sense? Okay. Now, what will be the consumer surplus? Since it is perfect price discrimination, consumer surplus is equal to 0. What about the producer surplus? Producer surplus is divided into 2 parts. One is the domestic market. In the domestic market, what will happen? Each and every firm is being charged a different, each and every consumer is being charged a different price. So it's basically the, if I were to talk about it in this way, it's basically this entire thing is the domestic consumer surplus. Okay. So that's basically integration 0 to 4, 12 minus x dx. This kind of a integration has to happen because that is what it is. Okay, so the first 4 units are sold in the market. This is basically the revenue. This is the total revenue. I'm not taking in the cost yet. Total revenue is this. So that's basically 12x minus x square by 2, 0 to 4. That's 48 minus 4 square by 2, 8. So 40. 40 is the total revenue from the domestic market. Okay. World market. TRD. Total revenue from the world market. I'm selling 4 units in the world market at a price of how much? 8. 32. This is the total revenue from the world market. Okay. Total cost. For 8 units is 2 plus 8 square by 2. 8 square is 64 by 2, 32. This is 34. Total cost is 34. Profit of the firm is 40 plus 32, 72 minus 34. 72 minus 34 is 38. This is the profit. You can see the monopolist profit in part A was how much? 22. So one part A, monopolist profit was 22. With perfect price discrimination and opening up of the world market, now the profit is 38. Am I making sense? Is this okay with everyone? If it is okay, please type okay in the chat box. And I hope that you have also done it in the same way. Have you copied? Can I move on? As soon as I move on, this is going to vanish. Okay. So let's go on. Okay. Just a minute. Sure. Done. Let's go on to the third part. Look at part C now. Next, suppose the monopoly firm has access to two plants, plant 1 and 2. Now, the cost of production at each plant is QI square by 2. So, in the first plant, it's Q1 square by 2. Second plant is Q2 square by 2. Solve the firm's aggregate cost function. That is the total cost in case it decides to produce a total output of Q using either one or both of the plants. Use the aggregate cost function to solve for the optimal monopoly output. What is the optimal monopoly outcome if the monopoly firm can price discriminate perfectly? So पहला part में the total cost function as a function of Q हमें निकालना है. Then we have to find out the optimal monopoly output, and then it can perfectly price discriminate now. So now please tell me what will be the optimal monopoly outcome. So Q when perfect price discrimination can happen. Okay, this is what the question is. Please make an attempt. चलो सॉल्व करते हैं साथ में. Yeah. So let's go into the blank space. So this is one part C, part 1. One part C, part 1 is first we have to find out aggregate cost function. Please understand it can be done in multiple ways. I know that C1 is equal to Q1 square by 2. C2 is equal to Q2 square by 2. Now, when we have the monopolist profit, you will ultimately have the profit maximizing condition will be MR is equal to MC1 is equal to MC2. Now, what is MC1? MC1 is Q1, which is equal to MC2, which is equal to Q2. So ultimately, you will get Q1 is equal to Q2. Okay. Total cost is nothing but minimize for Q1, Q2, Q1 square by 2 plus Q2 square by 2, subject to Q1 plus Q2 is equal to Q. Now, because MC1 is equal to MC2, Q1 is equal to Q2, you will ultimately get Q1 is equal to Q2 is equal to Q by 2. Okay. Therefore, cost is nothing but Q1 is what? Q by 2 whole square by 2. Q2 is the same thing, Q by 2 whole square by 2. So this is Q square by 4 into 2, 8, Q square by 8, which is basically Q square by 4. The total cost function is basically Q square by 4, right? That's the first part that we had to do. Swapnil, perfect. I hope everyone has been able to understand this as well. You can look at it from the profit function itself. Okay. Now, to find out um, the optimal monopoly output, this is the aggregate cost function. Optimal monopoly output, that's part 2. You can basically profit maximize just with this. So profit equation is basically 12 minus Q into Q minus the cost function is now Q square by 4. So pi dash 12 minus 2Q minus Q by 2 is equal to 0. So 5Q by 2 is equal to 12. So 12 is equal to 5 by 2Q, or Q is equal to 24 by 5, which is equal to 4.8. Price is equal to 7.2. Plant allocation Q1 is equal to Q2 is equal to 2.4. Am I making sense? And what is the profit? Profit you can find out. Profit is basically equal to 7.2 into 4.8 minus 4.8 whole square by 4. You have to basically calculate this. You'll be given a calculator. You can calculate it as 28.8. This is what you'll get. Clear है? कितना आ रहा था? 22 आ रहा था in the first case. Even if I exclude the fixed cost, तो भी 24 आ रहा था. Because I am being able to produce it now in two different plants. My profit has also increased. Can all of you appreciate this? Can all of you see this? If you can, please type C in the chat box. It's a very interesting question. Now, this is not actually part 2. Part 2 is perfect price discrimination. Now, perfect price discrimination with two plants. So perfect price discrimination with two plants, marginal cost, take it out. Marginal cost is basically Q by 2, which is equal to price. So price is Q by 2. Therefore, P was equal to 12 minus Q. P is basically Q by 2 plus Q is equal to 12. So 3 by 2 Q is equal to 12. Q is equal to 8. P is equal to 4. Price discrimination. This is the perfect competition case. If I were to draw my diagram here, what is happening is Q is equal to 8, P is equal to 4. P, Q, 8, 4. Perfect price discrimination case. This is what it is. What will be the surplus? We can find out the surplus. Yeah, so Q is equal to 8, therefore Q1 is equal to Q2 is equal to 4. Okay. Right. Um, There's no consumer surplus. So basically, the profit is integration profit. Okay, let's find out firstly the total revenue. Total revenue is nothing but integration 0 to 8, 12 minus q dq, right? This is what is the entire total revenue. So that's 12q minus q square by 2, 0 to 8. 8 into 12 is 96, 96 minus 32, basically 64. Total revenue. Profit is 64 minus the cost. Cost is basically q square by 4. So 8 square by 2. Um, 32, 64. Q square by 4. 16. 64 minus 16. 48. Profit. ठीक है? क्लियर है? टोटल रेवेन्यू कैसे निकला? समझ में आ गया? टोटल कॉस्ट इज क्यू स्क्वायर बाय 4. ये रहा टोटल कॉस्ट. Clear? See in the chat. Come on. So that finishes part C as well. Now let's go on to the next question. Next question, we'll finish off with that today. ISI 2023 PEB Group A, question number 3. There is a unit mass of consumer who wants to purchase at most 1 unit of good. So unit mass of consumers basically means that the number of consumers is equal to 1. Consumer V has a valuation V. Uniformly distributed between the interval 0 to 1, so that the number of consumers in between A and B, where 0 less than equal to A, less than B, less than equal to 1, is basically B minus A. How did you get that? Basically integration A to B 1 by 1 minus 0 dx. Hence, this is equal to B minus A. That is what it means. The consumers between A and B. Between A and B, because it is uniformly distributed. So it's like this. Okay. There is a monopoly with total cost of a monopolist is Q by 3. The firm does not know the identity of any consumer and hence must charge a uniform price. So uniform price has to be charged. So basically, if the monopolist sets a price P, who will buy? Okay. Who will buy is basically quantity bought will be basically all the consumers who has a valuation greater than P. So these are all the people who will basically buy. Okay. So basically 1 minus P is what the demand curve is. Okay, I'm solving too much. For any price derive with a clear explanation, the demand facing the monopoly firm. Write a clear explanation, okay? B, derive with a clear explanation the monopoly price and profit level. This find out. And part C, suppose that the firm can, for a cost, get to know whether a consumer belongs to the interval 0 to 4 by 5 or to the interval 4 by 5 to 1. So this is, he can price discriminate basically. This is third degree price discrimination. Two different markets being charged two different prices. What is the maximum amount the firm is willing to pay for this information? Give a clear explanation of your answer. Okay. Make an attempt. Come on. Do it. All parts, make an attempt. Do it. Okay. So let's get started with this particular question. All right. Okay. So this is A3. Part A is derivation of the demand curve. So a consumer with valuation V will purchase 1 unit of good if the price P, I said this, I'm basically writing it down. If the price P is less than or equal to their valuation. That is, value has to be greater than equal to P. If P is greater than the valuation, consumer does not buy. Okay. Since valuation V is uniformly distributed over the interval 0 to 1, the number, you can put it in brackets, the number measure of consumers with valuation between P to 1 is simply equal to 1 minus P. Since in the question it was given 0 less than A less than B less than 1 was B minus A. It was given in the question. So with valuation between P to 1, it will be 1 minus P. Therefore, demand function is nothing but 1 minus P. Right? If P greater than 1, quantity demanded is equal to 0 and P negative is not possible. You can just write it. Negative price is not possible. Okay. Thus, therefore, for P belongs to 0 to 1 is the demand function facing the monopolist. Okay, that's part A. Part B. Part B is basically finding out the monopolist cost and profit level. So cost of the monopolist is basically Q by 3. Demand curve is basically 1 minus P. Therefore, profit is basically 1 minus Q into Q minus Q by 3. Derivative 1 minus 2Q minus 1 by 3 is equal to 0. Or Q is equal to 2Q is 2 by 3, Q is equal to 1 by 3. Is this clear? So the quantity of the monopolist is basically 1 by 3. Price of the monopolist is 1 minus Q, which is equal to 2 by 3. Okay. And if I were to get into profit maximizing, profit of the monopolist is basically P into Q minus Q by 3. 2 by 9 minus 1 by 9, which is equal to 1 by 9. That is the profit. Clear hai? If it is clear, please type C in the chat box. You just have to do this. That's it. Now part C. Let's do part C. What is part C? Suppose that the firm can now price discriminate. एक interval है 0 to 4/5 के बीच में, एक interval है 4/5 to 1 के बीच में. What is the maximum amount the firm is willing to pay for this information? Give a clear explanation. So the information where the firm gets to know. Okay. So part C, value of information is what we need to find out. Value of information in order to engage in price discrimination. Okay. So with this information, you can write this thing down. With this information, firm can practice third degree price discrimination, charging different prices to the two identifiable groups. So group 1, consumers with valuation between 0 to 4/5. Okay. So the mass size of this group is basically 4/5. The other group, that's group 2, is consumers with valuation between 4/5 to 1. Mass size of this group is basically 1 minus 4/5, which is equal to 1/5. Firm maximizes profit by setting MR is equal to MC in each market segment, provided the solution is feasible. That is, does not exceed marginal cost. And basically the market size, obviously. So let's talk about the first segment, segment 1. The demand in this segment comes from consumers whose value is greater than the price being charged. Okay. Right. And the value is between 0 to 4/5. Therefore, the value has to lie between P1 to 4/5. Therefore, quantity demanded by this is 4/5 minus P1. Go back to the definition that we saw. People lying between the valuation A to B is B minus A. So people lying between the valuation P1 to 4/5 will be 4/5 minus P1. As simple as that. Therefore, total revenue of the first is 4 by 5 minus Q1 into Q1. Marginal revenue of this is 4 by 5 minus 2Q1. Am I making sense? And this is equal to nothing but marginal cost, which is equal to 1 by 3. So 4 by 5 minus 1 by 3 is equal to 2Q1. Okay. So this is basically 15 LCM. 3 into 12 minus 5 is equal to 2Q1. Therefore, Q1 is equal to 7 by 30. And P1 will be equal to 4 by 5 minus Q1, which is equal to 17 by 30. 24 minus 7, 17 by 30. Is this clear? थोड़ा डर्टी हो गया, सॉरी. सेगमेंट 1 का ये हो गया. Profit of segment 1 is basically P1 Q1 minus Q by 3, 7 by 90. ठीक है. Seven by 30 square. 7 by 30, 17 by 30 minus 10 by 30 into 7 by 30, which is equal to 49 by 900. Okay. This is the profit. Clear hai? Clear? 49 by 900. This is segment 1. Now we'll go into segment 2. Erasing this. Clear? Okay. We didn't have any space. Sorry. Segment 2. High value consumers, valuation between 4 by 5 to 1. Okay. Basically, who will consume when P2 between P2 to 1. Okay. Therefore, demand 1 minus P2. ठीक है. So total revenue 1 minus Q2 into Q2. Marginal revenue, marginal cost, okay. This is what we get. Feasibility check. This is what you have to write. This is the same demand function that we had in case A also. Okay. So, but here, is it feasible? Maximum possible quantity in this segment is the mass of the group, which is 1 minus 4 by 5, which is 1 by 5. Okay. 1 by 3 quantity is definitely greater than 1 by 5. The unconstrained optimization is therefore not feasible. Firm cannot sell more than total number of consumers in the group. Because MR2 is equal to 1 minus 2 into 1 by 5, which is equal to 3 by 5, which is 0.6. Marginal revenue is basically 1 minus 2 Q2, right? The marginal revenue is basically 0.6, which is greater than the marginal cost of 1 by 3 at the maximum capacity. The firm wants to sell to this entire group. Therefore, the quantity that the firm will sell is 1 by 5. And the price that it is going to charge is 4 by 5. Am I making sense? If I'm making sense, please type S in the chat. See, I found out the demand. Okay. I saw that the marginal revenue at the demand that I found out is not possible because I can't sell more than the number of consumers itself, right? So here what I did was I therefore put my maximum quantity, that is 1 by 5. So at 1 by 5, my marginal revenue is 0.6, but my marginal cost is only 1 by 3. Because my MR2 is greater than MC, I as a monopolist will want to sell entirely to this at the new price. So the profit from segment 2 is nothing but P2 into Q2 minus Q2 by 3. So 4 by 25 minus 1 by 15. Again, I can take 900 as the, there I got 900 if you remember. 900 as the LCM. 25 into 20 is 500, 40, 36. 36 into 4. 36 into 4 is how much? 36 in 35 into 4, 140, 144 minus 60. That's basically 84 by 900. That is the profit of segment 2. Therefore, total profit and value of information profit by price discrimination is equal to first segment profit plus second segment profit 133 by 900. Original profit without price discrimination, if you remember, was 1 by 9, which is nothing but 100 by 900. Can I write it down in this way? Therefore, maximum amount the firm willing to pay for this information is increase in profit. Value is profit price discrimination minus profit, which is 133 by 900 minus 100 by 900, which is 33 by 900, which is equal to 11 by 300. Is this clear? If it is clear, please type C in the chat box. This is the third part fully done. Segment 1 we did, and now again we are doing segment 2. I have done the questions very slowly, given you all the working, and I have given you an indication how to write your answers. ठीक है? So that is the session for today. And I hope that each of you have enjoyed. In the next week, we shall again come up with another important session for your ISI entrance examination. Till then, good night and see you in the next week. Bye bye.